ideas spark and shine, where leaders are shaped by design. Today, we gather to listen, to learn, from a guide whose insights help us discern. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shivangi, and I'm thrilled to welcome you all to today's guest speaker session here at XLRI. John Quincy Adams once said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." And that quote perfectly sets the tone for today, because we're about to meet someone who has done exactly that. Inspired teams, build organizations, and shape the future of business through technology, talent, and transformation. Our guest today isn't just a leader, he's a builder. Someone who has taken ideas, teams, and enterprises from vision to velocity. We're honored to welcome Mr. Malahar Pinnelli, Vice President and Country Leader at 7-Eleven Global Solution Center, India. At 7-Eleven GSC, he leads strategy, innovation, and digital transformation for one of the world's most iconic retail brands. In simple terms, he's helping shape the future of convenience globally. With over 2 decades of experience spanning Ecolab, Target, Kohler, Joann Fabrics, and Digi-Key, Mr. Pinnelli has been driving transformation long before digital became a buzzword. And at Ecolab, he established the Digital Innovation Center in India, built from the ground up, a true example of turning vision into impact. But before all that, he built something even harder, a startup. From ideation to execution, from nothing to something. He's lived the entrepreneurial grind that teaches lessons no classroom ever could. That rare blend of entrepreneurial hustle and corporate strategy defines his leadership style today. Sir, it's an absolute privilege to have you with us. We look forward to hearing your insights on leading through change, scaling capability, and creating lasting impact. To formally welcome you at XLRI, may I invite Professor Sarangi to present a small token of appreciation to Mr. Pinnelli.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'll try.
Seated there.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It is my pleasure to be here as well, Shivangi. And thank you very much for the lovely introduction. Thanks for welcoming me, Sunil Saran, to the campus. You guys have a beautiful campus, no? You guys can't hear me? Now? Sure? You want me to go with the hand mic? Okay. Good evening, guys.
Good evening, sir.
Let's pump the energy, right? I know you guys had a long day, but good evening, guys.
Good evening, sir.
That's like it. So this is the first time I'm on this side of the table in a classroom setup. But I'm excited about throwing a check at the people if they're not paying attention. Do I get to do that? No? Just kidding. We'll try to keep it interactive. engaging as much as possible. So before I get started, I want to understand the room. I was told you guys all had experience before, right? So this entire batch had working experience. So how many of you have 1 to 5 years of experience? Please raise your hands. Okay, most of you, that's good. How many are 5 to 10? Few, okay. How many are 10 plus? Nobody, okay. How many come from tech background? That's decent. How many come from business background? Business, sales, operations, HR, finance, any of that. Risk management, legal, all of that included, non-tech. Okay? I'm interested about the rest. Where do you guys come from? Because the rest, some of you didn't raise your hand. So today, let me start introducing myself first a little bit so that you understand where I come from before I get into today's topic. But today's topic is 7 reflections on mastering the trifecta of business, people, and technology. I'm going to share my 7 reflections and examples, but let's start with mine. As you know, Malahar Pinnelli and the VP and country leader for 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is the largest convenience retailer in the world. 85,000 plus stores, 85,000. Right? Walmart has only 8,000 across the world. 85,000 plus stores, 20 different countries, 99-year-old business. And in US alone, we have North America, 14,000 plus stores. Out of that, 9,000 stores sell fuel. So a convenience store typically across the world are a combination of your fuel combined with the store in the fuel station. But when it comes to Southeast Asia, it's a little bit different. And Japan has 22,000 plus stores because their convenience stores are a culture. And the rest of the world is remaining. And as I said, we are a 99-year-old company. We will be celebrating 100 years next year. And we are the pioneers in convenience retail. We have innovated convenience retail over the years. Have you guys, I'm sure you guys have had a cup of coffee at Starbucks, right? Yeah. Or many different places, McDonald's, everywhere. You carry a cup out. It's called to-go cup, right? Yeah. We were the first one to come with the to-go cup. So don't just look at merchandising in the regular sense. We have fresh food, we have snacks, we have alcohol, we have beverages, we have coffee. I don't know how many of you heard of Slurpee? Yes. That's our, this is Slurpee, right? That's the logo, if you guys can see. How many have you heard of Big Gulp? Big Gulp. It's a big jar where you can fill the soda from the fountain. It's called Big Gulp. So that's again our own brand. But again, this is your 7-Up, this is Coke, this is Pepsi, but the cup itself is called Big Gulp. Again, we've been innovating convenience retail for almost a century. So that's about me and the company, but a little bit more about me. I did my Bachelor of Engineering. I never did MBA. I don't know if I should have, I should not have. That's a question for a different day. But I worked, I started working in India. I moved to Middle East, mostly to the East. Middle East, Europe, US has been my experience. I'm back to India for about 14 years now, settled in Bangalore. Spent 7+ years in US, based out of Minneapolis and Dallas. I am passionate about human psychology because, normally I'm a guy who sits back and observes what's going on, observes people. Because as a leader, in my opinion, building perspectives are very critical. Different perspectives are very, very critical. And I strongly believe as a human being that every human being, maybe 99.999% of the human beings, right, will always do the right thing. It's just what the right thing is different for them than the other person. right? It's just the perspective. So it's important for me as a leader to understand people, to operate in that environment with everybody, so that we are producing the best outcome possible with everybody involved. So I'm passionate about human psychology. That's my family. I have a 14-year-old kid. On the right hand side, that was 2 years ago picture. Married to Krishna for about 17 years. She is a CA and CPA, and she works for those. And my son is my golfing buddy. I play golf over the weekend. It's hard to build a bond with boys for dads. Or, I mean, they're mama's boys, right? So you need to find a sport. So that I found a sport where I could spend the time. I spend 5 hours with him every week so that I have that memory. And the deal is the number of games I play with him now, he has to give those back to me when he grows old. So that's there. We'll see if that's 6. But 2 years ago he was that, and suddenly grew up and taller than me within 2 years. Coming to summary of my experience, I started as a tech guy. I was a platform architect, worked at TCS, traveled across the globe, primarily being a principal architect, solution architect for large implementations. And then I had the opportunity to be a business leader where I owned the P&L, went through a transition into acquisition and M&A. That gave me business experience. I did my own startup. That gave me entrepreneurial experience as a co-founder and a CPTO. That gave me both entrepreneurial experience and as well as product and taking it to market. It was, I gained that experience. And as well as over the years, I gained people leadership as well by building high-performing teams. So that helped me, the diverse experiences helped me to bring the people, the technology, and the business together to deliver outcomes to the organization. So that's a trifecta which we'll explore today. I'm going to go double click on my experience a little bit. It's a visual representation. I wanted to put a visual representation here so that it can stick in your mind, right? Because I'm going to use my life examples as I go through reflections which are connected to this journey, right? Started with TCS about 9 years as a tech guy, moved to Rev, that's a mid-sized company of 500 people, which was into e-commerce implementation for all direct-to-consumer, for brands, and as well as where they didn't want to do e-commerce by themselves. So we set up a solution, and that went through a acquisition by PFS Web, and I built an 800+ member team for the company which acquired us back in India. That was my first GCC about 4 years ago. After that, I moved to people work as a CPTO and a co-founder, spent a couple of years there, then moved to Ecolab, which is a Fortune 200 company. Was first employee there, built a 1,000+ member out there as MD and as well as VP of engineering for all their ERP applications and core systems. Then I moved to a management consulting firm called SMC Squared, which is into helping US companies set up GCCs. It's a management consulting company. Spent a couple of years there, established about 8+ GCCs during that time. Now I've been with 7-Eleven for about close to a year. So I just wanted to give you that visual representation because the story I'm going to tell is going to go back and forth through this timeline. Time for some hard reflections, but before I share my reflections, I want you guys to take a minute, okay? Write down or have a mental note. I want you guys to think about, reflect on, and share that reflection. Either something where you took a risk, which worked for you, or did not work, which is okay, but you took a risk, right? Or it could be a trait or a behavior you develop over time because of your experiences. So I'm just giving you a broad spectrum of framework on what you can think. But take a minute, your minute starts now. Think about the reflections. 15 seconds more. I said it's going to be an engaging session, so it has to be interactive. Okay, your time is up. So who is ready to share their reflection? If you are not going to raise your hand, okay. We have a brave person here. I think she's going first.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So I'm a 2016. In 2016, I completed my schooling, and after that, I was supposed to, like most of us, I was supposed to enter the engineering college, and I had to make a decision. For me, it was like I was quite firm in joining mechanical engineering. When we were filling in the choices, my parents, my family, they tried to convince me that computer science was actually the discipline that was taking over mechanical, and it was taking the top spot. So I was convinced, like my family tried to convince me to take up computer science engineering, but somehow I stuck to my decision of being a mechanical engineer and continued being. So joined mechanical engineering, passed out as a mechanical engineer, joined Bajaj Auto, and completed 4 years in R&D.
That's good. Good to know. Thanks for sharing. Please go ahead. We'll go with probably one more person so that we can keep on.
So my story is a little bit similar to her as well. So I am in civil engineering background. I wanted to continue in the civil engineering field itself, but I was from the 2021 batch. So I had to take a jump either into analytics or to the IT sector. And that's a big challenge because I have to be surrounded with people from the CS background and had to learn from them. So the challenge was either to take that risk or to continue for 5 months unemployed. So I took the risk, I joined Citibank, and I started seeing people from a different perspective. They're not competitors, they're people who helped me become and grow to a person.
That's good. Thanks for sharing that.
Hi, I'm Shan. So right from engineering, after engineering, I got placed into Royal Enfield. And over there, I was initially part of the computational fluid dynamics team, wherein I was working for 3 months. And post that, I was given an opportunity to either continue there or to move to a brand role where I was working on a new motorcycle launch. So I loved mechanical engineering and I loved working on the computations and dynamics. But I thought, I want to take this risk and move to the business side. And I took that risk, and the rest is history. Like I worked on the bike launch, we went to 4 countries, launched it there, then came back, worked with CXOs. So that's been a journey.
That's great. So thank you. Thanks for sharing. I think that directly, it's a good segue into what I'm going to share next. 7 reflections of mine, and that must have been a lot of discomfort, difficult to do the transition, all of these stories, right? My first reflection, choose difficult and discomfort, or comfort and easy. You will come out stronger. That's what I have realized over time. I'll tell you why, right? I'll probably give you a couple of examples from my experience. So I said I lived in US, happily settled, got married, had a kid, born in US, everything was going great, making a 6-digit number, everything was comfortable. But I was on H1, right? And I've been an architect from my 3 years of experience. After 11 years or 10 years, I was still an architect. Being on H1 is a modern day slavery is what I call it. Just in this room, don't take it outside, right? Because you're stuck in the process of green card, you don't know what's going to happen, what role is going to change, when it's going to change. And at best, you are a consultant being thrown for your skill by the consulting company so that they can make money. I didn't see a growth, but that was not what I wanted. I wanted to move back to India, set my own course. And I went up to, it's a small company, so I spoke to my manager who was a CTO, and then I went and told the CEO as well, hey, I want to move back to India, and I have to resign. And he took a few seconds and said, okay, we have a company in India, if you want to go, that's fine, but why don't you go back and work for us as a head of technology? There was risk, but immediately paid off. I was being from a principal architect to move back to India, where there were 400 plus people sitting, I was the head of technology. And That's a pivotal moment in my career. That again came through a risk and paid off well. Paid off well to be where I am today. And the second story I would like to share in the same lines is in the same company. It's a 500 plus great company. Things are well. After I came back to India, within 1 year, Oracle acquired some of the products which we were serving. And some of you know who are in the tech. Any product Oracle acquires kills the product, loses the market share. And we went from 500 people to 50 people in the organization. The MD left, everybody left. I moved here, and then I had the opportunity to take the reins of the organization. And I had been a tech guy. I never ran an organization. I never had many people reporting to me. I didn't know HR. I didn't know finance, legal, facilities. There's so many things, right? I said, this is not my job. But a couple of mentors told me, you're already doing most of the job, which is delivering the tech, which is the nerve center of the business, and making sure the customers are happy. So they asked me to take that role. Finally, I said, I'm going to take that role. That was my first MD job. And that paid off. Everything what I've done, learned from there, is what I use in day-to-day today. It was very tough, very different, but it was a lot of learning. It paid off itself. So again, that's a conclusion of those are the examples of my first reflection. And I'm sure when I look at this room, you guys have taken that risk too. That's why you are here. Comfortable job, month-end salary, could use it, but you want to do something different. So good job in taking that risk, and I'm very sure, very, very 100% sure it will pay off. For some immediately, for some could be over time, but it will pay off. So I am very sure of that, and you will be very sure of that. Before I move to the second reflection, I'm going to show you a video. How many of you guys know golf? Anybody? Saw, know golf? Watched? Okay. You don't need, I mean, I'm sure not many of you do play, but at least know golf? Yes. How many of you know Tiger Woods? Icon, the face of golf, right? I'm going to show you a video. That's the guy, today's world #1 called Scottish Scheffler. And we'll talk through that, okay? Playing beautifully. When you see that circle, it's 1 under. So golf course has 18 holes, and it has, each hole has how many strokes you should be taking as a professional. The less you do, the better. So means he made 3 birdies and 3 pars. Pars mean even, birdies mean 1 less.
Rare miscue from Scotty. It finds the penalty area there left of the fairway.
2 yards is run up. It's a yard out your foot.
Nice eyes.
Least into the fairway to feel like he's made a really good play.
Yeah, this seems like a much higher risk than reward shot, but we'll see.
Came out beautifully.
Are you kidding me? So much for that. So much for the reward. Not out of it. What a shot.
So, I mean, golf has a lot of life lessons. I love the game. My son also plays. He's in Gandhinagar playing competitive golf for 2 years in the India circuit, but I love the game itself. A lot of people make it old man's games too, but you should try. There are only 2 kinds of people. Either you love golf or you don't know golf. There's nobody who knows golf but knows like this. But here, the takeaway for me, which also is a segue into my second reflection, is things are going to happen. You'll have setbacks. What matters most is your next shot. That's what matters. So my reflection, you will face setbacks. Learn from the setbacks, pivot hard, just because you pivoted doesn't mean that it's going to happen. You got to reassess, if required, pivot even harder. I'll give you an example again from my experience. So I talked about taking up this role as MD for this organization, which was not doing well, right? I also said that got acquired and I built a team for that organization. And if some of you are from experience of M&A and risk management, you know what happens. After 3 years, the founders leave, the entire thing rejigged. So till then, I was running all technology, all India, 800 people. I was responsible for everything across the globe for tech delivery, and as well as being MD for India. The new boss came and said, there's too much of work for you, too much of responsibility, too much of risk. I'm going to rejig this. And he wanted me to just do the office management and split up everything into different units, report it back to US, no ownership here. That was hard for me. I was 34, 35 years old, and not mature, never seen an organization restructure happen. That was really hard for me. It was my baby, where I spent 5 years building from bankruptcy, taking it through acquisition, building that team. It was blood, sweat, tears, and I didn't know how my son grew up those 5 years. It was really hard. Right? I was sulking for a while. That's when I went, and then I realized it's life, things happen. I went and started the startup as co-founder and CTO. So that's my first pivot. Spent 2 years there, built a beautiful product, a lot of features. It's just in a short, it's a platform or ecosystem of career development and workforce building platform where there are career coaches, educators, schools, students, grants, governments, employers, jobs, everything on there so that you can put your preferences, it would match with jobs, it would match with the courses, what you want to learn, what you should be staying relevant to learn in the future. For companies, it's workforce building, you can get all your employees there and assess them and then see when you have jobs, how they are matching to these future jobs, where you need to upskill, reskill. The companies are cutting jobs, they could bring those people on the platform to give them an opportunity to learn and gain experience and then it match jobs, multiple use cases there. But we will add AI, automation, all of that. But we were a little bit too early. So 2 years of not making money, actually putting money wasn't that easy. But the company is still running. I am still the technology advisor and non-working CTO and a co-founder. I get involved. Company is still running, but I had to look after myself and family because somebody needed papers, right? So I took a chance. It worked, but not to the expectations of what I wanted. So I had to pivot hard. So that's when I took the role at Ecolab. So I had to reassess and pivot harder. And it's a Fortune 500 company. And that put me at a different scale altogether. Now I'm working for a Fortune 50 company by the revenue standpoint. So things happen, pivot, learn from those experiences, pivot harder if required. Things will work out. And those gives you experience and perspectives for future, and you lead large teams, run large organizations. Sure, all of you are cricket lovers, most of you are? Yes? Raise your hand if you know Janky Roads. Come on, please. You don't know Janky Roads? No? Okay. I'm going to play a video. Then we'll talk to the next reflection. But I'm going to point out at certain images, point at instances in the video. So please remember those, take a photo in your head, right? So that we can talk to those examples. He was the game changer of how fielding worked. Today what you see on the field, he is the one who set the bar.
Another exciting time could be running up, and Jockey Rhodes has demolished the stump.
He gets there first and wipes it.
Oh, what a catch.
Wonderfully caught by Georgie White. The ball was just looping to the gully on that occasion. It was really flying. Brilliant catch by Jonty Rhodes.
So those days, people only caught if they came to them or waited for the ball to come to them. Anything side, it's okay. So that was a stand-up feeling, and he changed that. So before I get into my reflection, I'll tell you the story why I brought this up. I had the opportunity to meet him, listen to him at a conference. And as a kid, he played soccer, he played tennis, he played cricket, and cricket was his favorite, and he wanted to be a professional in soccer or tennis. But he ended up being a professional player for cricket. So what he was talking about is cricket is a linear game. Somebody is throwing with the ball, somebody is hitting the ball. It's a linear game, right? He didn't train to be that fielder, but as growing up, playing soccer, playing tennis, gave him lateral agility. Could move sideways, not just one way. So that's what he combined, and he became a game changer on how fielding works today, right? So that's a good segue into my third reflection. Business acumen trumps tech prowess for a tech guy like me, and the tech savviness trumps business prowess for those people who came from business. You got to have all of that, at least the perspectives of it. What you will gain with that is you will connect every important decision in the job you do to strategic business outcome. If you don't know either, at least enough to be dangerous, right? You don't need to be, being a business guy, you don't need to know how to code, but you need to be dangerous enough, tech savvy of these technologies, so how you can solve the problems. If you're a tech guy, if you don't understand the business, what are you going to solve? Nothing. So it's important that everyone knows business and tech to a certain degree. To give you an example, again, from my experience, after PFS where I didn't like the job change by the acquired company, I wanted to move to find a job, and the Musk CTIO calls me. Musk is a Fortune 50 company again, the largest logistics company out there. In the ships, containers, they move goods across the world. He called me for an interview because there was a common reference between him and I. And I went for an interview. He had another colleague of his who was an EVP, an executive committee board member. And the interview was going fine. And at some point they asked me why I wanted to move. I said, I want to innovate, I want to automate, I want to use all these jargons, right, like standard. And the other guy asked me, what is that you want to automate? You want to turn the lever of the ship through intelligence? Do you want to move the container by itself into the ship? What? Till then, my job was pure tech, literally pure tech. I focused on tech, how to scale, how to perform, what's the best technology out there, what's the new latest technology in e-commerce world. And I didn't get the job, of course, right? That was an eye-opener for me. That's when I started focusing on learning business. Even though I'm on the tech side, I need to know the broader picture. I need to learn what's problems, business itself, so that I can define the problem statement and I can solve. And at 7-Eleven, that's one of our major initiatives. We call it Know Your Business. Because when we were recruiting, there's no 7-Eleven store. Of course, we started that with Reliance in Mumbai and Pune. But nobody had convenience in store experience. Convenience retail itself is new in India. But if the team doesn't know how the business runs, how the store operators are running, how the supply chain happens, how are we doing the merchandise, how are we running protection for our employees, because it's 24/7 operations. If you don't know all of that, what are you going to deliver? just piece of code, then GCC is not relevant. It can be a service company. So knowing your business is critical, and we have an initiative of know your business in our organization so that we can actually connect everything we do to strategic business outcomes. So the point I'm coming to you guys is have the lateral agility. Don't stick to linear.
So,
Yeah.
right. So connecting to this, as you mentioned, 7-Eleven has around 85,000 stores across the world. I think in India it's close to around 100, right? Mumbai, as you mentioned, I've been to
50, 60 right now.
right. So since it's like a market entry for 7-Eleven into India, what kind of tech infrastructure or something like that is needed here, and how does 7-Eleven plan to compete in India given that the major market share is taken by T-Marts, Reliance Marts of the world?
It's going to be a journey. I can't tell you what's going on as much. So again, taking a step back, 7-Eleven has three major business segments. One is North America called SEI, 7-Eleven original brand. Then we have SEJ, which is 7-Eleven Japan. They work independently, and the rest is 7-Eleven International. The international is all master franchises. We don't run the stores. We go with somebody else who is in the market, who knows the customers, who knows the geography, who has a supply chain, who knows the retailer in that area, and we work with them on a partnership basis, master franchisee basis. So Reliance is our master franchisee in India, and it's up to them what systems. We also have tech stack for international. When the master franchisee wants us to deploy tech, we can deploy tech, but Reliance is running those systems at this point. Right? But coming to how we are going to compete, there is a big plan which is in works. I can't divulge, but we'll be competing.
Is it that the issue of competition because Reliance already has its own stores, right?
Convenience is totally different. Convenience is being able to grab a sandwich at 11 p.m. in the night. Be able to get a soda 11 p.m. in the night. Be able to probably grab flowers when you are running from work to home. Be able to get milk for your wife when she calls saying that get me milk, milk on the way from office to home. So multiple use cases. Convenience is different from your regular stores, what Reliance does. And the brand is aspirational brand. Everybody knows 7-Eleven across the world. So that's a differentiator. Thanks for that question. So we're going to do I see some people dozing off. So please wake up. We're going to do an engagement right now, activity. Can we come? I mean, we have time for Q&A. We'll come back to that if that's okay. Is that okay? Yeah. So I want you guys to be. I mean, look to your left or right. Pick a person. It's a team of two. Go ahead and pick your partner. Okay. So one person, I call person A, person B. Person A is going to be business person. Person B is going to be tech person. Okay? Let me know once you guys are picking a partner. You want the It can be a group of people. Okay, hope you guys have settled. It's easy to pick a person next to you, so I'm going to give instructions on how this is going to work. So person A is the business person. Okay? The business person needs to explain a business concept which you want to solve to the tech person without using any business jargons. A go-to-market strategy or NPS, NPA, whatever you pick. Without using business jargons in layman terms, the business person needs to explain to the tech in a 45 seconds. And the tech person is going to explain to the business person another 45 seconds, without using any tech jargons, on what this is going to do to the business in terms of revenue, costs, or customer experience, the solution connected to the outcomes. So, 45 seconds starts now for the first person. Okay, the 45 seconds end now. Guys, 45 seconds ends, switch the roles, tech to business. Tech to business. Now the tech person is explaining to business the technology. Okay, 10 more seconds, then time up. Okay, guys, time up, time up. Let's come back, guys. That's good, people are passionate. Okay, guys, let's be done. Okay, settle down. So, anybody want to share your experience? Anybody? Any of you want to share your experience of how this went? I'm going to pick if you're not going to be raising your hand. Still there into it.
Yeah, so
Mark, why do you ask me
so our experience was mainly there were two tech people in one business, so it was more difficult to convince two tech people or explain what it does. But yeah, I mean, so we just took a simple example like go to market, and he explained us in a much more simpler way, like the same template as explaining to a 5-year-old kind of template. And yeah, he explained us distribution channels in a very layman term, like this. Okay. And in terms of tech, we took the example of let's say if there's one counter, if I have to serve let's say 100 or 1,000 people, like one person, then that's easy. But what if you have to do that with 1,000 people? That's how I got technical. Imagine it's like 10 people or 100 people. So that's what we thought about load distribution, load balancing.
Was that difficult?
I mean, no, actually, the moment he started explaining payment terms, even we figured out how to dumb it down.
That's dumb it down. That's a keyword. Anybody else? Anyone else want to share what you guys came up with? We have two ladies in the back.
So
basically to make it more like a layman term, we were speaking in broken English. So I started with telling her that I want more money and I have a supermarket, so I need more customers. So, and I want the customers to come back again and again so that I get more money from the same customer.
So the solution I gave her was that we'll make an app that will be installed in her system also and on the customers also, and based on the trends that they have been coming to the supermarket in the past, we'll study the data and study their orders, not data, study their orders, and we'll predict. So suppose if it's a bachelor, they'll order more Maggi, so we'll give discounts to them for those items, and if it's a family, we'll give discounts based on their previous orders.
That's a good segue into the next reflection. So the leadership job is being a cross-functional catalyst than being an expert at everything. You got to build teams, enable them, let them execute, and the key is being a cross-functional catalyst for the teams, bringing everything together. You're gonna, as you grow, there are going to be a lot of functions, HR, finance. You're going to have experts in each of the roles as leaders. You cannot be an expert at everything. You got to bring these people together, explain the purpose of what we are doing, why we are doing, and make sure the common goals are achieved by utilizing all their capabilities, by enabling them to achieve those goals. Again, it might be at a point in time in your career as you grow, but even within the teams it's applied. You have worked for a while, you could be a manager, you could be a senior manager in an organization. You would have sales guy or marketing guy or sales ops guy, right? Designer, or it could be, if it's tech, you could have a developer, QA, product owner. How are you going to bring them all together? You cannot be an expert at everything. You got to build the right people, enable them, and be the cross-functional bridge. Being the bridge is going to be the key to connect everything together. So again, going back to, I'll give you my personal example as well. I was a tech guy, and I could code. So sometimes it's like, instead of giving it to this guy, I better code because I will save time and it will be better quality. And we all have been there. And I only have 8 hours in a day. Maybe I can stretch 12 hours, 14 hours. But that's when I realized it's not going to scale. Then I started showing them what I expect. Take a step back, watch them do it and give guidance, and then totally letting them go and do on their own. That's the stage 1, which you will go through. The stage 2 is, when I was leading Ecolab, it's a big organization. All my directors, directly reportees are directors, senior directors, have 15 plus years of experience. These are leaders of their own right. They knew what they were doing. They are experts at what they're doing. And initially I started telling them what to do. And there was friction, there was conflict. Then I set up a session to bring together on what's going wrong, what's not working. The feedback was, you guys, you need to step away from us, let us do my job. That's how actually that's what I've been told. And I did take a step back. Now, my job is not being a boss, not telling them what to do. I'm not the expert at everything. I have experts in each of these roles. My job is a catalyst of cross-functional collaboration. Bring everything together for a common purpose and goal, and organization benefit, and the people benefit. So that's another reflection. Again, you will make your own mistakes through this, but that's one more reflection I have in my career. The reflection 5, build your own board of directors. They'll speak for you in the rooms you are not going to be. You're not going to be in every room. You're not going to be in every conversation. Again, board of directors could be industry experts out there, could be your peers outside the industry, not within the organization, could be leaders within your organization, could be your peers within the organization, and sometimes it could be your team. These also can be some of your board of directors because they are good at some things. They can be your advisors and mentors too. It could be everything. With that, you have web of people, trusted, has your back to protect you and to speak for you in the rooms you're not working. I'm not going to divulge in a lot of details, but in my personal experience, I had been through this. Right? I have few mentors of past CEOs of NIIT CEO, Domino's CEO, who are now advisors for multiple companies as my mentors. And I have my industry peers, a couple of them whom I bounce my ideas with, and also I have mentors within the organization at executive committee level, which I'm still building because I'm still new. I'm building that board of directors. I have my peers in the US side whom I am building relationship with, and I have few advisors in my team too here whom I can bounce the ideas if I'm thinking clear or not. So there was a time when there was a situation in one of the organizations I was working for. I was not aware, but there was a group formed to inquire about it. And I was also part of one of the members in the process being put there without my knowledge. But the industry expert was called, who happens to be my mentor. And he stood for me, he spoke for me because he knew me from past 10 years. So that's just an example. There are multiple examples, so you need to deliberately build relationships at your peers. Everybody matters in the organization. They'll speak for you in the rooms you're not going to be. That is very critical. How many of you have friends who will have your back? Always. That's a good one. That's good to see. So you need to just expand that to more diverse set of board of directors. My sixth reflection, invest in your well-being. Sustained performance and growth will come with your own investments and well-being. You will need you than anybody else over time because it's going to be a marathon. It's not going to be a sprint. I know you guys want to get to the finish line, and some of us want to, but it's going to be a long journey. And some of you may be thinking about, I want to be a FIRE today. Do you guys understand FIRE? What is it?
Financially independent.
Yeah, some of you are aspiring for that, but again, the priorities change, the goalposts change. What you wanted is not what you want tomorrow. Let's say once you have, the kids, when they leave, my son is going to leave the home in the next 4 years. What do I do after retiring? Even though I'm financially independent, right? So it's going to be a long marathon. You got to invest in yourself. Your physical health, your physical well-being is needed. I make sure I work out most of the times, not always. I play a sport because that winds me down, gives me a different calmness. I use golf as my therapeutic session. You need to invest in your emotional wellness. Does that mean you need to take a break? You need to go travel. You need to wind down. I was on vacation last week. I was in Europe. A lot was going on at work. That gave me to actually put everything in perspective, calm down, and be actually more focused. Your social wellness is key. Your friends, family, spend time with them. Have fun. Right? So your well-being is most important. When you have you is when you can perform, when you can grow, when you can aspire to do what you want to do. Never neglect yourself. And all aspects of well-being, not just one aspect. It could be spiritual, which is okay. Right? It could be financial, because you want to get somewhere, make sure you will get there, but plan it out. Right? There are many parts of well-being, but invest in yourself. This is the key for your long-term sustained performance and growth. My final reflection, again the seventh, brings all of this together. I deliberately chose this picture, actually created this picture, right? At the bottom, don't look at the leader standing on the mountain, just a visual representation of being the boss, of being the leader. But the bottom, you can see different experiences: tech, finance, dollars, money, Chads, they're all diverse experiences. When I started, I said I worked in multiple countries, different geographies. I worked in consulting, management consulting. I worked for corporate. I worked in insurance. I worked in retail, convenience retail, startup, HR tech. Different experiences matters because you build different perspectives. Will help you to bring it together. The more perspectives you have through your experience or different lenses will help you actually be a better leader. So please build your careers with diverse perspectives, diverse experiences. I mean, some of you may want to be an expert at one thing, which is okay, right? But if you want to be a broad leader, you need to have broad experiences. So take a chance to learn different things. And the people around is the board of directors I was talking about. Corporate leaders, your peers in the industry or in your organization, your teams, all of those are board of directors. With that, you will have a broad canvas, broad perspectives. You know what is the outcome? Drive larger picture because you are capable of that larger picture. You don't think small, you will think big. Today, I'm the country leader. I have nothing to do with the tech, to be honest. But I am delivering solutions for AI, sitting here even though it's not my job. I am setting up AI pods here to actually go after all business, transform everything. So you don't need to be given, you will figure out once you have larger picture, you will go after bigger things. So that's my 7th reflection. With that, all my reflections are done. But just to conclude, I'll give you 3 takeaways from today, right? I know there are 7. Some of you may have resonated with some of you may not. But the 3 I would say should be takeaways for you is take risk. It will work out. Either now, today, or maybe after a few years. In long term, it will work out for you. Learn to take risks. Build your network, build your board of directors. They are going to have your back. They will come to your rescue. They will come to your celebration all the time. So build network who matter. It doesn't need to be hundreds of people. I only have about 7 or 8, right? But they are your board of directors. Think big and bold, not small. Because when you aim higher is when you can actually could get there. If not, even shorter is okay. So that's my conclusion. I think I've been talking for a while. So we will go to Q&A, but before that, I have a question for you. I know you've been listening to me for past 45 minutes, 1 hour. Do any of them reflect with you? Yes? If yes, I would like to hear from you. Take an example. What reflects from these what I shared? Anybody want to take? Come on, let's have somebody else, not the same person.
Hi sir, I'm Raghav, and in my experience in pharmaceutical consulting, for around close to 3 years of my earlier experience, I was working in the same function, doing the same kind of role. Then an opportunity came up where I got to work with a lot of cross-functional teams, sort of an digital transformation project of sorts, where I had a bunch of digital teams, the marketing team, the branding team, and a lot of different functions coming together and working on it. I think that was my first experience in being that cross-functional catalyst where I was delivering that project. So I think a conscious call to actually go for it rather than being in my comfort zone working in the same function really worked out well for me, because that is something that within the MD experience I feel that holding a lot of value, where I'm able to work with a lot of my peers coming from different kind of experiences with a lot of efficiency.
Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else?
So I think the point that you mentioned around business acumen trumps the tech prowess, that really resonated with me a lot, and I believe a lot of people in the batch as well.
Because like we took a headcount earlier, that a lot of people are from technical background and coming from that work experience. And like here, while we are pursuing MBA, I think that's what we are here to build, the business acumen. That's something that we are all eager to learn on, and like understanding the whys behind like why we were working on certain technical features when we were back in our work experience. Like for example, I was a software engineer at Shell, and I used to feel that gap of why am I working on a certain feature. So that's what helped me, like that's what enabled me to come here in the first place, take this risk and like build on that. So I feel that's something that really resonated with me.
Thanks for sharing. Anyone else?
So I think the point that resonated with me was about the build your board of directors. I feel like that was something I was just subconsciously doing at my previous job. I did not realize I had gathered that set of people who would be there to support me when I wasn't there. Like specifically, like you said, they are talking about you in rooms that you aren't. And I feel like those people really helped helped me progress through my career at my previous company. May it be getting the right project at the right time, may it be the right promotion. But it was mainly because subconsciously I had built that set of board of directors who would vouch for me when I wasn't.
Thank you. I think we can get to Q&A. If you guys have any questions you want me to answer. Is it okay if I sit?
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
So sir, as we know, retail in general is going through sort of a disruption now with the convenience aggregators, so to speak, the likes of quick commerce. So in like a scenario like this, from like a purely product perspective, how does a traditional retail giant approach this kind of problem? Where like how does it feel to be on the other side of disruption, and how do you solve that from like a cross-functional lens where you have to look at a lot of factors and you are sort of managing that product or that brand in particular?
So I'm going to probably answer in the particular context of 7-Eleven. So while we have stores, 85,000 stores, we also have a business called 7Now, which is similar to quick commerce, but it's not from dark stores like India. It is from live stores, and as well as partner stores within the community, within specific radius. We also acquired a company called Skipcart, which has 15,000 driver partners who actually do the last mile delivery. So we've been making investments. We know it's a disruption for retail, and especially convenient. It is more convenient, and we are in convenience store. But quick commerce is more prevalent in this side of the world than major markets at this point in time. But we are already way ahead with 7Now and 7Drive. That's what we call it. We're already making investments. It's $1 billion business for us already. That's how we are actually competing in that space. Yes, please go ahead.
Hello sir. So my question is like, as of now, we are seeing for achieving the business goals in today's world, many companies are moving towards the digital transformation. And for a large organization like 7-Eleven, as you told, like which has a very large presence across the world, implementing such digital transformation can be challenging because if we consider the nature of the industry, it's highly dynamic even from the tech side, and implementing it on so large scale can take time, and if you try to rush the things, it can prove to be risky. So in that context, how do you implement the transformation while minimizing the risk while still achieve the business goal in, like, we can say, minimal time?
There are two aspects of your question. Please have a seat. The digital transformation journey, we have been on it for a while. Earlier I told you we have 3 different major segments, right? One is US, other one is Japan, other one is international market. The way we structure it is the international is a miniature version of our US solution. We already have taken that. That's what we implement in the international market as a playbook. Because US will continue to innovate, and that will come down to the international markets. So So that's how we have taken that approach. Being a large corporate, the number one reason why the CEO stays up in the night is a data breach or a compliance risk. So we talk about trust a lot, but when it comes to IT and security, it is no trust policy, zero trust policy. So the risk and compliance comes first, and the risk of even the right implementation comes first, because in a digital world, a customer lost is a customer lost for life. A transaction loss is customer loss for life. So we are agile. We implement latest methodologies in terms of innovating our products. We have strong product organization. We have product delivery teams which are taking the feature from development to implementation, taking care of it in individual pieces and silos. We don't do big bang. All those methodologies are in place, but the risk and security comes first. So going back to answering your question, risk we cover very well, but we bring the agility at the same time, and we transition that the proven use cases in a bigger market to smaller use cases through international markets.
Thank you.
So I had a question actually. So nowadays I think we know that it's very, given the advent of the buzzwords like Gen AI, etc., it's very easy to lose track of the actual outcome of what we're going to achieve after this certain implementation. So in your time, in your, like, under your leadership or in your experience, have you ever come across a situation wherein you had to take a step back from a certain solution or technological solution which you had been approached with, but you had to take a step back and then see a tangible outcome of it, and any business, strong business use case behind it, and hence had to say no to it? So in your experience, if you face anything like that.
So which didn't have a strong business case?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are fancy tech out there. One of the examples, I mean, we are always doing R&D and looking at new technology, what can help with our business. One of the things we try, again, not to go at scale, but we will always keep trying what is coming out there. The simple example is autonomous delivery, where drones are picking up products and delivering to the end consumers for quick commerce. We have looked at that, we have done the POCs, but there's nobody who can do that at scale, at cost, right? But we are ready already with POC and how that is going to work. But we are waiting for when that becomes a commodity solution, a cost-effective solution, to actually bring it to the implementation. So I wouldn't say we stopped it, but we're always ready for something that's going to come next. We will be doing POCs, but we'll wait for it being scalable and commercially viable product. That's an example I can think of, which is autonomous delivery. Is that all?
Are there any more questions?
Thanks, guys. And I think I'm going to be around for dinner till 9:30. Then, so not till 9:30, 8:30, I guess, or whatever the time is. Feel free to come to me. I would love to speak to you guys. But thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pinnelli, for such an engaging and interesting session today. If we needed proof that business wisdom can come with clarity, candor, and a few golf analogies, we got it today. Your reflections on leadership really hit home. From reminding us that different perspectives are critical, to emphasizing that it is not enough to just understand numbers, we need to understand people. Your talk made us rethink how we approach problems. I especially enjoyed the activity that got us thinking like business and tech partners, though I must admit, some of us now realize we speak in more jargon than we realize. You mentioned that setbacks aren't failures, there are opportunities to pivot. Sometimes hard, sometimes harder. And that building the right team and nurturing relationships is just as important as any business decision. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, your insights, and your humor with us today. It's not every day that we get to learn from someone who's walked the path, faced the challenges, and still inspires us to dream bigger, think broader, and pivot smarter. We truly appreciate your time and hope this won't be the last opportunity to learn from you. So now, on behalf of XLRI, we'd like to present you with a memento as token of our gratitude. May I request Anshu ma'am to please present it to sir.